In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 WNBA games happening on May 19, 2023, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 2 picks for each game, 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 WNBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Washington Mystics versus New York Liberty. The New York Liberty and Washington Mystics meet Friday in WNBA action at the Entertainment and Sports Arena. The New York Liberty returned 4 of their top 5 scorers from last season, and that includes one of the top young players in the sport in Sabrina Ionescu. The Liberty raised their ceiling with the additions of 2018 MVP in Breena Stewart and a 4-time All-Star in Courtney Vandersloot. The Liberty went from a team on the rise to a team that has serious expectations and is probably in the best shape to give the Las Vegas Aces a run for their money. The Liberty haven't won a playoff series since 2017, but that should change this year. Anything less than winning the WNBA title will be a major disappointment for this season. The Liberty made all the big changes this offseason in hopes that they are going to be the team to beat. Star guard Sabrina Ionescu is back, and the team has done everything to build around her. Courtney Vandersloot will be starting alongside Ionescu, and that is an instant upgrade. The biggest additions this offseason are Breena Stewart and Jonquel Jones, and both players are in line to have big seasons. Stewart is one of the best WNBA players, and she could be the leading scorer of this team. Last season, the Liberty's offense was ranked 9th, and this season that number will be going up. In the last preseason game, the Liberty faced off against the Las Vegas Aces, and they were defeated 84-77. The Washington Mystics made the dark horse to keep an eye on this season, as much of their 2019 title team is back. Helena Del Don has said she's had a terrific offseason, and her back issues are a thing of the past. The Mystics return their top 5 scorers from last season and even get Kristi Tolliver back, a player who was on that championship team. The addition of the DOPY Brittany Sykes raises the ceiling of this Mystics team and could give them the best defense in the league this season. Again, the Mystics are a club that could surprise some folks as they look to reignite the magic from a few years ago. There has been a lot of buzz this offseason surrounding teams like the Liberty, but some seem to be forgetting about this Mystics team. This is a Mystics team that has a lot of talent, and they are also really deep. Helena Del Don is still one of the best players in the WNBA, and she is in line for a big season. Early in her career, she dealt with a ton of injuries, but she seems to finally be healthy now. Ariel Atkins, Natasha Cloud, and Shatori Walker-Kimber are all back, and they should all be key players this season. In the last preseason game, the Mystics faced off against the Atlanta Dream, and they were able to secure the 88-76 victory. The Liberty are 5-0 to 1 against the spread in their last 6 Friday games. The Mystics are 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 home games and 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 versus Eastern Conference. The Liberty are 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 meetings. The under is 4-1 in the last 5 meetings. This matchup could be a prelude to the WNBA Finals, as both are expected to go deep into the postseason. The New York Liberty is probably going to be favored for obvious reasons, as they're the most hyped up team heading into the season. However, I'm fairly high on the Mystics if you didn't get that already, as this team can hang with any in the league assuming Del Don can return to her old self. There's a ton of expectations with the Liberty, but I think the Mystics are being overlooked. Even though the defense struggled for Washington in the last preseason game, I believe that they will lock in here. Del Don and the rest of the Mystics offense is going to find plenty of success here, and that is going to be the difference as they get the job done. So the Washington Mystics to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. New York steps onto the hardwood after finishing with a win-loss record of 16-20 last season. The Liberty hit on 35.1% on shots from three-point land and 82.3% from the charity stripe. They had an average of 80 points per game while connecting on 43.1% from the field. They lost possession by turning the ball over 14.6 times per game, and as a group committed 18.2 personal fouls per game. As a team, New York collected 34.3 rebounds per game and had 745 assists last season, which had them ranked 5th in the league in terms of passing. Defensively, the Liberty forced their opponents into 11.7 turnovers per contest, and they drew 16.1 personal fouls. They gave up 33.6% on three-point shots, and they were 6th in the WNBA in opponents' points per game. The Liberty defensively allowed an opponent shooting percentage of 41.8%, and they conceded 35.7 boards per game as a unit. They were ranked first in the league in giving up assists to their opponents with 654 relinquished last season. Washington had a record of 22-14 last season. Washington earned 2,888 points over the course of last year, and they grabbed 34.9 boards per contest. As an offense, the Mystics shot 43.9% from the floor, which was ranked 7th in the league. The Mystics were responsible for committing 15.9 fouls per contest while shooting 78.4% from the charity stripe. They assisted teammates 20.3 times per contest, and they lost possession via turnover 12.8 times per game. The Mystics on the defensive side of the court were first in basketball in points per game surrendered with 75.9. The Washington defense gave up 33.8% on three-point shots, and their opposition made 77.3% of their free throw shots. They forced 13.9 turnovers on a nightly basis and let teams shoot 43% from the floor. They gave up 18.3 dimes and 33.1 boards on a nightly basis, which was ranked 2nd and 4th in basketball. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Minnesota Lynx versus Chicago Sky. The Chicago Sky and Minnesota Lynx face off on Friday in their first WNBA game of the season at the Target Center. These two teams faced off in the preseason, and it was the Sky that won 82-74. The Chicago Sky are expected to take a serious step back after a few deep playoff runs as they lost a ton of talent. Candace Parker is in Vegas, Emma Meeseman is overseas, Courtney Vandersloot is in New York, and Azura Stevens is in Los Angeles. The good news for the Sky is that two-time All-Star Collie Copper has the talent and the attitude to lead the way and keep the Sky afloat to a certain degree. A Marina Mabrey and Courtney Williams duo also comes with toughness. The Sky have leadership and grittiness, but so much lost production from last year will likely lead to serious growing pains. There aren't a ton of expectations surrounding this team on the outside, but the Sky believes this team can be good. This Sky's team looks a lot different than last year's squad. Vandersloot, Quigley, Candace Parker, Emma Meeseman, and Azura Stevens have all moved on and won't be with the team here. Isabel Harrison and Elizabeth Williams have been brought in. The Lynx are entering a new era of basketball in Minnesota. This isn't the same team that has found so much success the last decade. Gone is Sylvia Fowles, who retired, and Maya Moore officially retired also, although she hasn't been with the team the last few years. During free agency, the Lynx went big game hunting, but they swung and missed on all the big-name players. The star of this team is Nafisa Collier, and this team is going to go where she leads it. Collier knows she has a ton of pressure, and she needs to step up to the plate. Outside of Collier, though, this is a young team, and there are a ton of questions about who will step up around her. Last Saturday, the Lynx faced off against the Chicago Sky in a preseason game, and they were defeated 82-74. The Minnesota Lynx missed the playoffs for the first time since 2010 and could experience more issues this season. WNBA legend Sylvia Fowles called it quits, and that's an issue on and off the court for these Lynx. Nafisa Collier and Diamond Miller are the new faces of the Lynx, while Ariel Powers and Kayla McBride are key pieces as well. There's talent still in Minnesota, but this is a young group, and it may take a year or two for things to come together again. There's not a single player on this Lynx roster over 30 years old. The Sky are 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 versus Western Conference. The Lynx are 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 home games and 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 Friday games. The under is 6-1 in Sky last 7 overall. The over is 4-1 in Lynx last 5 overall. The Sky are 2-5 against the spread in the last 7 meetings in Minnesota and 2-9 against the spread in the last 11 meetings. This should be a fun game between two teams expected to be down from a year ago, so it's a nice feeling out game. With that said, I do believe the Lynx are in better shape, as there's still talent on this roster and the return of Nafisa Collier is massive. The Chicago Sky lost so much this offseason, it's going to take time to really get going. The Lynx have more answers and are at home, so the Minnesota Lynx to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Chicago heads into this game after finishing with a win-loss mark of 26-10 last season. The Sky hit on 34.5% on shots from downtown and 82.3% from the charity stripe. They averaged 86 points per contest on 48.1% from the field. They turned the ball over 13.8 times per game and as a squad committed 16.2 personal fouls per game. As a basketball team, Chicago pulled down 34.8 boards per game and earned 874 dimes last year, which had them ranked first in the WNBA in terms of passing the ball. On the defensive end of the court, the Sky were able to force their opponents into 13.1 turnovers per contest while drawing 16.5 fouls. They were ranked 8th in basketball in allowing assists to the opposition with 751 surrendered last year. The Sky defensively gave up a shooting percentage of 43.8% and they surrendered 33.2 rebounds per contest as a group. They surrendered 34% on shots from downtown while they were 4th in basketball in points per game allowed. Minnesota had a mark of 14-22 last season. The Lynx were responsible for committing 16.9 fouls per contest and they shot 78.4% from the free throw line. Their rate of dishing out assists was at 20.6 times per game and they turned it over 14.6 times per game. Minnesota totaled 2,968 points last season and they snagged 36.9 boards per game. On the offensive side of the ball, the Lynx shot 45% from the field, which ranked them 4th in the league. The Lynx were ranked 8th in the WNBA in points per game given up with 83.9. They conceded 21.5 assists and 32.5 boards on a nightly basis, which was ranked 11th and 2nd in the WNBA. The Minnesota defense conceded 35% on shots from distance and opponents converted on 79% of their shots from the free throw line. They forced their opponents into 11.5 turnovers per game and allowed teams to shoot 43.9% from the floor. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Los Angeles Sparks vs. Phoenix Mercury. The Phoenix Mercury and Los Angeles Sparks face off on Friday in a WNBA showdown to kick off the season at Crypto.com Arena. The Mercury are one of the most anticipated teams in the WNBA this season and for one big reason: Brittney Griner. This is a team has a ton of questions this season and some of those include about Griner, who wasn't with the team last season. Back in 2021, Griner averaged 20.5 points, but there is a big question if she will get back to that form. She has admitted during training camp that she isn't 100% yet, and there should be some expectation that there is some rust. Diana Taurasi is 40 and injury concerns have been an issue the last couple of seasons. They are going to need her to stay healthy if they want to be a team that is competitive this year. The Phoenix Mercury haven't missed the playoffs since 2012, and there's reason for optimism. Brittney Griner is back after spending time in a Russian prison, and that's a big deal. While it may take time for Griner to get back in form, she's only 32 years old and is an 8-time All-Star for a reason. Pairing Griner with Skylar Diggins-Smith and Diana Taurasi, and that trio can make some noise in the West. Depth could be an issue for the Mercury, especially with Diamond DeShields in Dallas, but that potential trio can go toe-to-toe with any in the league when they're right. Don't count the Mercury out just yet. On the other side of this matchup is the Sparks, who made some changes this offseason in hopes that they can get this team back to the glory land. The Sparks had some concerns heading into the offseason, but Nneka Ogwumike has made it clear she wants to stay with the team, and it's all about building her around. The Sparks have brought in veteran Jasmine Thomas, who they hope can shore up the point guard spot. She is coming off an ACL injury, but the expectation is still that she will have a big season. In the last preseason game against the Mercury, the Sparks were able to secure a 90-71 victory. In this game, the Sparks are going to need the offense to run up the score here. The Los Angeles Sparks had a weird season last year and haven't made the playoffs in back-to-back years. The Sparks lost key contributors from last season as well. With that said, Nneka Ogwumike is still one of the best players in the league and gives the Sparks a fighting chance every night. The addition of Azura Stevens is a nice one, and a bounce-back season from Chiny Ogwumike would go a long way. Katie Lou Samuelson is coming off her best season yet, and it will be interesting to see if she can build on it. The Sparks have potential, and Liz Cambage isn't around to cause problems. The playoff drought should end, but only time will tell. The Mercury are 3-1 against the spread in their last 5 Friday games and 1-7 against the spread in their last 8 road games. The Sparks are 0-4 against the spread in their last 4 home games and 4-11 against the spread in their last 15 games overall. The under is 4-1 in Mercury last 5 road games. The over is 4-1 in Sparks last 5 overall. The Mercury are 2-10 against the spread in the last 12 meetings in Los Angeles. This is the second matchup in less than a week between these two teams, as Los Angeles dominated the first meeting. I expect a bounce-back season from the Los Angeles Sparks, and they're usually a tough out at home. However, the Phoenix Mercury are a team I've had a soft spot for these last several years, and it remains with Griner, Taurasi, and others back in the mix. I enjoy watching the Mercury when they're whole, and I believe they have possibly one last run left in them. So the Phoenix Mercury to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Phoenix will enter this contest after finishing with a win-loss mark of 15-21 last year. They lost possession by turning the ball over 13.3 times per game, and as a team committed 19.8 personal fouls on a nightly basis. As a team, Phoenix grabbed 31.2 rebounds per game and sat with 692 assists last season, which had them ranked 8th in the league in terms of passing. The Mercury hit on 32.9% on three-pointers and 81.7% from the free throw line. They averaged 81 points per contest while going 42.9% from the floor. Defensively, the Mercury forced 14.2 turnovers per contest while drawing 18.4 fouls. They were ranked 6th in basketball in allowing assists to the opposition with 742 relinquished throughout last year. The Mercury gave up a shooting percentage of 44.1% and they surrendered 37.2 boards per game as a team. They relinquished 36.6% on shots from beyond the arc while they were 10th in the WNBA in points per game allowed. Los Angeles had a mark of 13-23 last season. The Sparks committed 18.3 fouls per game while shooting 78.6% from the free throw line. Their rate of earning assists was at 18.9 times per game and they turned it over 13.8 times per game. Los Angeles totaled 2,860 points last year and they grabbed 30.4 rebounds per game. On the offensive side of the ball, the Sparks hit 44.6% from the floor, which was ranked 5th in the WNBA. The Sparks defensively were ranked 11th in basketball in points per game given up with 86.6. They gave up 21 dimes and 35.1 boards per contest, which ranked them 10th and 7th in the WNBA. The Los Angeles defense allowed 37.7% on shots from beyond the arc and their opponents converted on 80.8% of their free throw attempts. They forced their opponents into 15.4 turnovers per game and allowed teams to shoot 46.7% from the floor. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.